Member of Parliament for Bunyore East, Yusuf Mutembule, Member of Parliament Lower Madi Okolo, Afidra Ronald, and the Executive Director for Inter-Party Organization for Dialogue have appeared before the Legal and Parliamentary Affairs to defend the Political Parties and Organizations Amendment Bill 2025. The bill aims at amending 3 sections of the Political Parties and Organizations Act 2005. MP Mutembule told the committee that the bill seeks to restrict government funding and other public resources provided to political parties and political organizations that are represented in Parliament to only those that are members of the National Consultative Forum and Inter-Party Organization for Dialogue.
The vision does not condition the funding on political parties and political organizations' commitment to the principles of 1. Tolerance, dialogue, and peaceful coexistence. To promote transparency, accountability, and equitable access to public funding among political actors, adherence to these democratic principles should be a prerequisite for accessing government funding. This will ensure that funds are used responsibly and effectively and accessed by political parties that have agreed to align with democratic values.
Talking about the 35 billion that is allocated to political parties in Parliament. This is a discussion that generated from the summit of 2018 in IPOD. Discussed again in 2019, actualized today.
The crusaders of the bill were questioned their motive.
So why are you trying to tag what is supposed to be very good to only a few?
Do you want to use the statute to force cooperation, that people must cooperate by force?
Object, what is the value addition of this particular piece of legislation?
And say people must be forced into a round table to dialogue, people must be forced into a round table to associate. You are offending the Constitution right away.
It's like you want to suffocate parties. We are in a democratic system, a democratic party, government. To me, this bill is not making any sense.
This bill also seeks to institutionalize Inter-Party Organization for Dialogue as an organ of the National Consultative Forum and also create another forum for non-represented political parties and organizations in Parliament. This irked the MPs as IPOD is a Netherlands-based organization that supports dialogue among political parties in Uganda.
Nationalizing IPOD will ensure that dialogue becomes a recognized and permanent feature of Uganda's governance architecture rather than a discretionary or ad hoc mechanism. This will embed political dialogue into the formal policy-making and conflict prevention frameworks of the state.
We do understand that IPOD was established by, with the support from the Dutch. And over time, based on our history, it has achieved, in our view, the intended outcome. And that's why we are seeing democratization happening in place. And for sustainability, if now we have proposed this to be taken up.
If IPOD were to, for instance, be more effective, it would be much, much more effective when it is institutionalized. We've also had political parties that have come to us and said, but look, IPOD, you have this convening power. Why wouldn't you help us with the political parties that are, for instance, abrogating the code of conduct of political parties? Prevail over them.
Of course, you have highlighted that the interest was dialogue, peace, and democratic maturity. Where there was dialogue, it was supposed to lead to peace and eventually democratic maturity. And why some parties were trying to pull out was because of lack of this.
Mutembule has assured members of the legal committee that the provision in the current law regarding leadership on the National Consultative Forum will remain after facing backlash. I'm Navka Farida and Gloria Guitavinji at Parliament.